Grand Rising, this is the Straight Talk Morning Show. My name is Andre Hill, your host, and we have our co-host, our chairman from Detroit, Michigan. How you doing this morning, Chairman?
Grand Rising, everyone. I feel good. You know, it's a beautiful day here. Another week we'll have summer, but it seemed like it's going to touch us a little earlier, which I'm happy with, you know. Looking for a great day tomorrow, Father's Day. Some of my daughters are going to take me out, so I'm sitting on top of the hill.
Well, absolutely. Well, happy Father's Day to you and all the fathers out there listening to our program. I got a message to all of the fathers. We're really not going to enjoy a real Father's Day until we take charge of our communities, until we take charge of our children, our women, and protect them and set an example to guide them truly without the influence of these demonic forces that want to emasculate you and take away your manhood. So we are carrying on business as usual. But besides all of that, happy Father's Day weekend to all of the fathers out there. Hey, also we got our co-host and engineer, Andre Hill Jr. What's going on, man?
Everything's good in the hood.
Anything coming from your generation?
We need to get our shit together. That's about it.
All right.
That's about it.
All right. Well, let's get this show on the road. It's going to be interesting. I always do my post, and so I'm just going to bring up the issues here that we talked about on the Straight Talk Network. You can get us on YouTube at the link on my Facebook page at Andre Hill Sr. Get that link and log it in until we get some marketing people in here to get a simple title so you can find that link on Facebook. You have to go to my Facebook page and just download or press the blue highlighted area and it'll send you to the show. Press live and you can see all the previous shows. Also on Facebook, if you have friended me at Andre Hill Sr., you can also until Facebook decide to do a crazy Ivan, like they eliminated our Straight Talk Network show. We're going to continue to broadcast from my Facebook page. So just send me a friend request at Andre Hill Sr. and I will respond to you and get you in to make sure you can get notifications on how you're going to be enlightened and awakened from this nightmare. And so, as stated, what melanated people need to understand about the wars starting in Northern Africa. Also, why Hispanics who thought they were white are being expelled, and who is the new leadership in the Aboriginal communities of the Americas, and our next move. So a lot of Aboriginal Americans, formerly known as Black Americans, Afro Americans, Negroes, colored people, just want to clear that up. They had us brainwashed that Aboriginals were only in Australia. Well, that was an illusion, and that was a diversion to keep people from understanding what their true heritage was. We're going to talk about what's going on in Northern Africa. Also, the new leadership. I'm real happy to see a lot of Aboriginal Americans getting behind Burkina Faso and Ibrahim Traoré, and so excited about the moves he's making, the aggressive moves. But guess what? It's mandatory that we do that here in the Americas. We don't need to sit back on the sidelines and keep cheering for him. I mean, we need to support him, but we have some leaders right here on this show. You got three that's putting their lives on the line, their livelihood on the line to get you the truth and to organize you so that Ibrahim Traore, and all those other nations that are waking up from this demonic Caucasian, parasitic system, and they're waking up and realizing we don't need to depend on these groups who are intent on colonizing us and enslaving us. We can do for ourselves. So we do have leadership right here in America, and we are aggressively moving in the direction of establishing our own Aboriginal nation and moving in the direction of establishing commerce, cultural exchange, educational exchange, technological exchange with all of these Aboriginal melanated countries all over the world. But guess what, Aboriginal Americans? They're waiting on you, even though they know we're in the belly of the beast. And it's going to be even more difficult. But it's one thing that you understand. When you work as a collective, it empowers you and it creates a frequency of protection. So you got to stop the hook winking each other, trying to shoot each other up, claiming territory that you really don't control. All these crazy things that we're doing to each other, which was created by the Willie Lynch design, which was How to Make a Slave. This document was brought to America 400 years ago. And so we don't need to be sitting back, go Ibrahim, go all of these other presidents in these African nations. They are expelling all of the sellout leaders, and so we need to be moving in that direction too. We have sellout leaders here in the Americas. They work with the Democratic Party under the auspices that they're looking out for us, but we're still in the same condition. We're losing our lives. We're losing territory, property. We're losing everything under that Boule leadership. So we have new leaders, and you're looking at 3 of them right here on this show, and we're seeking out other leaders that are worthy to work with us and raise this frequency that we can do for ourselves. So we want you to if you want to get behind Traore, good, but get behind us too, because we're doing the same thing right here in the Americas. I'm gonna pass the ball, Chairman. What do you think about? You've heard some of the posts about how happy people are and getting behind Ibrahim Traore of Burkina Faso. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think it's a beautiful thing because he's trying to bring that country together, and he's doing it on a basis where he's presenting himself like he's one of them. He's not trying to dress in $1,000 suits and mansions and driving beautiful cars. He's just an everyday person letting people know that he's just like them, but he's for all of them, uniting his country and all the other countries in Africa, showing that it can be done. He just spent something like $16 billion on farming equipment. He didn't try to buy guns, which in some cases you do need some guns to protect yourself. But he thought about feeding the people first. You got to get the people in shape, for this revolutionary cause of gaining, power in your country and helping other countries survive and thrive. And it's necessary. He's doing a wonderful job. And he's a young man. He's probably in his 30s, some like Andre Jr., I bet you could be like brothers in the same pot, you know. But I like everything that I see he's standing for and the things that he's doing because he's representing a positive change for Africa, and if not, for the whole planet Earth. Everybody could take his lead and see what he's doing because we're confused. I'll leave that alone.
A good point, Chairman. One of the things, I'm glad you brought that point out. And the mentality of the leadership in the Americas is, I got to do my thing. I got to get me a yacht, a room with 12 houses. I got to drive a Lamborghini and all this to attract women. That mentality is dying. In our nation, UAAR If we get a yacht, the yacht is for everybody. It ain't gonna be the chief or the chairman, the Jewish doctor, which you see here represented on the screen, they're gonna benefit from the wealth of our collectiveness. If we get a yacht, it's for everybody. Everybody get a chance, but they just have to schedule it. We going out on the yacht. Hey, we got the yacht. Or we get planes. We're not gonna be like these preachers put their name on it and well, I got to go preach the word in my plane. No, it'll be for all of us. It'll be to build a fleet or any aircraft to move around for transportation purposes so that we can continue to build this nation. So that selfish mentality, or even that mentality, well, if I didn't come up with this, I'm not going to get involved with this. Let me tell you something. Me and the chairman, just for example, you know, we in our 70s. We ain't doing this for us. We can sit back on Social Security and just watch the game from a safe zone. We're doing it for the young generation. And if you try to do it, the old Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, not taking it away from what the effect that they had, but that's not the way to go. They're not going to be any more Martin Luther Kings or Malcolm X leaders. It's going to be a leadership of the elders who recognize that we didn't leave the generations behind us nothing. We went for the okie doke. Okay, so we just have to face up to that reality that we thought these parasites were going to do right by us. Nope, they ain't going to do it. They cannot do it. They were created 6,600 years ago. And it took 1,000,000 years or more to create the mitochondrial DNA of an Aboriginal woman. So how do you expect something created 67,000 years ago are going to be mature enough or spiritually evolved enough to do the right thing? Look at Ben Netanyahu. Look at Agent Orange. All they're thinking about is how to survive by any means possible, of murder, bombing, killing. And so we're going to go into that. I'm gonna let the young generation. Hey man, what do you think about the following Ibrahim Traore right now?
I know everything happens in due time, but it should have been done 100 years ago. Ibrahim I think he's 4 years younger than me, actually, right? And so he's got the relativity to my generation. And my generation is, especially us born in the 80s, I want to say we're probably the last frontier of melanated people who are going to actually implement the revolution. I'm not saying the 90s babies and the 2000s babies aren't capable, but in overall and in general, I haven't seen a combination of the organizational skills and the grit and endurance that my generation had. It's like I'm saying it like this. See, my generation was the last generation. We played video games, but we also went outside and climbed trees and stuff. You see what I'm saying? The kids after us, hey, we love them, but they different. They different. And I think both of y'all have hinted to this on the show many times before, but that generation they reincarnated, understanding like, wait a minute, y'all supposed to have this foundation already laid. I ain't finna be buying into this this slave system. I'm not finna get up and go to work. So, these kids, younger than me, they just taking advantage of the technology that's at here because that's what they came back for. That's what they want to get involved in. But it's my generation that is the last one that you have to hand the torch over to. Those, I don't think those other generations after me, they're just not, I'm not saying they're not capable, but they're just not naturally designed to carry this revolution through. So, and listen, Ibrahim is doing great because this is what's happening now. The Sahel Alliance, Nigeria, Mali, and Burkina Faso have created a ripple effect as it should have been. Now you've got other countries, I think Chad, Nigeria, thinking about getting online with it. So that whole West African area, they're all about to start following suit. We're gonna see some more coups, or you just may see those puppet presidents just stepping down and say, "Yeah, I can't. I'm not gonna be able to, hold up this facade and this charade for much longer." And and they ain't American, so and mess around and get killed, and ain't nothing they can do about it, right? So they don't want to deal with that. As a matter of fact, one of my good friends introduced me to a brother who was living here. I think he's from Senegal, and his family was a part of the, for lack of a better word, the royal family in that country. And I met the young brother that's living here too. He's about my age. I think he's about a year younger than me. And his uncle, I think was the president of the country or something like that. Something in that area, somewhere in the president's captaincy or something. And his uncle's on the run. Uncle's on the run, right? So his whole family needs protection, including the guy that I know. I'm not gonna say any names, but that's what's going on in Africa. You got the people stepping up and saying, "Yeah, we ain't dealing with this no longer," and it's much more successful over there is because you got a whole country of melanated people. You don't have a demographic diversity like we do over here, to where it's very easy to divide and conquer us. So Ibrahim, like you said, Chairman, listen, if the stuff that he's doing, they're not going to put on the news for the most part.
Right. You're right.
Because he's been doing a lot of stuff.
Yes.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think he built a dam in their country in about a matter of 6 months. Right, this little building over here across the street, it's just to house, 400 units. They taking a year to build that. He built a dam in 6 months, and he built it at a time where they were fresh on the regime change. So they were reorganizing. In other words, he didn't have a lot of money to pay the workers of that country to build that dam. And like you said, Chairman, he's got the respect of the people, though. Because you know what they said? They said, this ain't about the money. We know we need a dam for our country because we need water. And so they built it practically just on skin in the game, right? Just putting in sweat equity in the thing. And so that's the mentality they got developing over there. You don't really see that in too many places in the world right now. I don't even think Russia can get their people to build something just for free, just to say, because we need it, right? I'm sure ain't gonna get it in America or any Europeanized country. So that's the mentality that's developing over there, and that is what Revelation. That's what the future's supposed to look like. And like you said, Pops, that's the kind of mentality we built in you all, and that's the only thing that's gonna survive. Everything else, if you're out here trading your time for a monetary instrument, trade instrument, aka money, that is about to be done. That's about to be done. You're gonna have to find. Everyone's gonna have to find their niche and skill set that applies to building this new world.
Yeah, a bartering system.
Absolutely. So I got another question to put to my son. Now, let's take into consideration, there was a scientific document, we've talked about it on this show many times before, that the colonizers used. They got this technology from an extraterrestrial or advanced civilization, because I don't think they had the common sense to come up with something as technical as this. But anyway, it was called the Willie Lynch letter, How to Make a Slave. So one of the components of the Willie Lynch letter, you have to turn the old against the young. And when in essence, you have to take away the natural order of respect that the young should have for the elders in the community. So I know there's a lot of people still in my generation, they're worshiping a frequency that was given to them by the slave master, and they will fight you over that image, you know. And a lot, and the new kids ain't going along with that. But let me ask you something, son. You have seen me and the chairman operating and demonstrating our sincerity. Do you think there is an advantage to have elders involved in the movement where your generation can rely on their consultation? Have you experienced that even of late?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's how every nation who has a decent and tenured culture, that's how they all do it, and that's how they sustain. Side note, let me just here's an example. When I was, everybody knows I do electrical work. I did cable at one point too, here in Florida, and I went to this neighborhood. I want to say it was probably a little mixed, but it was a majority of Indians that lived there, Indians from India, right? I pull up on this house to install that cable. I was mad because it was a 3-story house. I knew I was gonna have to do a lot of work, right? So keep in mind, it's a 3-story house. And so I go inside this house, beautiful. It looked okay on the outside. It looked kind of regular on the outside, but it was still 3 stories. On the inside, it was beautiful in there. They had it dressed up like the Taj Mahal on the inside of the house, right? But when I went in there, this is what I realized. Their whole family lives there. I think the elders lived on the 2nd floor, just so they had to be doing all that climbing up and downstairs, and all of the and everybody else lived up on the 3rd floor. But the 1st floor was common areas, and they lived very comfortably together, right? So they had I can even imagine. Let's say, for instance, the children. I mean, they've got the support of their parents and their grandparents to help them with financial support, just social support, helping them take care of them children while they go out here and work in this matrix system. They lived very comfortably, basically, because they had a microcosm of a community, of family right there in their own home. So now, so when you think of elders, from my perspective, it's if you if you don't know where you're coming from, it's hard to understand where you're going, right? Hard to understand where you're going. Y'all are where we're coming from, right? So especially right now. So again, so let me hint back to this. When I was talking about the generations under me. See, they don't know what y'all seen dealing with, different people in this country. My generation got a small glimpse of it, right? And but my point is, if they don't have access to y'all and y'all's stories and y'all's wisdom on the matter, then the same process is just going to repeat again. In other words, a parasite got a new blank-minded host to infiltrate again. Because it's almost like a blank computer. They can upload that same dumb program to over again, versus them having access to their elders and saying like, "Now we already been there and done that times 10. Don't even worry about making the mistakes." because I'm saying it like this. As a 40-year-old man, it's like I'm past the stage of being like, okay, it's okay to make mistakes. I mean, yeah, whatever it is, but I just prefer to make very minimal mistakes.
Sure.
I prefer to make very little mistakes, right? And so if wherever the wisdom is, it's like you drop your ignorance and your wisdom at I'm sorry, your ignorance and your and immaturity at this age and ego at this age, and say, now wherever the wisdom, wherever I can get access to understanding where the right direction is, that's what I'm gonna do. But I don't feel like turning around and making U-turns and tracking back, losing gas, and then have to turn back around to go the right way. I don't feel like doing all that, right? So saying all that to say this, yeah, having access to the elders in your community particularly. In other words, it is what it is. Unapologetic about this. For me, it's very important to have access to melanated ancestors. Absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. Well, once again, me and the chairman, we know, we've seen it, and also too a lot of other elders out there. A lot of you may say, well, I don't know the things the metaphysics you guys be talking about. That's our lane. It's our job to share that with the other elders. But if you survive 60, 70, 80, 90 years on this planet and you still talking and navigating, you have some knowledge. No, you have superpowers to overcome this. And so just because you may not know what I know or what the chairman knows, you know something, and so bring that knowledge, because we're going to respect you. We're going to bring you into our elders Congress to help make decisions, to help form a new paradigm, to help form communities that are balanced, where we are self-sustainable, where we feed ourselves, clothe ourselves, protect ourselves, and with healthy foods, so that we don't have to be on all these jacked up pharmaceutical drugs, having heart attacks, high blood pressure. We're going to change all that. So you might be an elder that may have a high blood pressure remedy. It is as insignificant as it may seem, it's significant. So don't go, well, I done gave up, I'm tired and all that. No, but bring your knowledge, bring your experience. Go to our website at uaarnation.org. And if you have a problem finding it on there, we'll give you an email to get in contact with us, because we're building this nation all over the Americas, in all 50 states. So wherever you are, one thing about AI, with the technology, we can reach you, we can communicate, Zoom meetings and all of that, so that ain't an excuse. Sitting back saying, I'm tired, you let this crap run over you and watch what happens to you in the next life. You said you're tired. You can't leave anything on the table at this point. Chairman, you got some ideas on that, on the elders, the importance?
Well, one thing, bring a child with you. It's not only the resources that you have the ability to reach out to your descendants, and bring them so they can be informed by those of us that are knowledgeable, because sometimes the young people don't have a way of getting there. But you got to spread that knowledge, you got to lend that hand to the young folks, because they don't know what's going on. Very few of them do, but they have the ability. That's how life advanced through our younger generation. But we've got to expose them to what's going on, because what's going on been going on for a long time, even before us, but we got to, teach them. That's the only way.
Absolutely. All right. So, Chairman, there were some other topics here, and I skipped over reading all of the topics for today. Also, we got a little piece, we got a video on star seeds, the Aboriginals community, and the final call for star seeds. We're going to talk about that after we go back and deal with the wars in Northern Africa, and why Hispanic people that thought they were white, why they're getting dogged out right now. But also, we're going to talk about the star seeds. Your mission is at hand. It will not work as an individual. Tune in and be enlightened. So we got this video should really kind of wake you up if you're a star seed. But you have to understand the whole nature of being a star seed. All of us had individual trials and tribulations. And the reason they were individual trials and tribulations, we were born different times. Some of us short, some of us tall, some of us light-skinned, some of us dark-skinned. The objective is to bring all those experiences together, star seeds, and elevate the frequency and demonstrate by example. That's where we are right now. So if you got, well, I got to get my own podcast, I'm going to just preach my message. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. It's only going to work as a collective. When a bunch of star seeds to get together and we start thinking about Agent Orange or Ben Netanyahu, how they're murdering people and implementing all of these crazy systems so that they can make profit, so they can be elevated to a king status, to be worshipped like a god. That's Luciferian. That's Lucifer's problem. He wanted to be worshipped as a god. He created a whole culture of parasites to worship him. That's the system we're in right now. But anyway, I want to really get some input from the chairman and my son. So the Hispanics, first of all, the United States government went into your country and started cutting deals. And if they didn't want to cut deals so that they could maintain colonial domination, they would invest in individuals that were corrupted to help them overthrow governments. And when they overthrew your governments, that put a bunch of idiots in charge, and that's why you end up leaving your country to escape to come to America. Remember that. Our government, the United States government, did that. They went into your country, all of these South American countries, Mexico, all the way down the line, and they infiltrated you, and they created the conditions where you had to leave your country to come to America to make money to send back to help your relatives. And so you develop a culture, well, we got to stick to ourselves. We can't do like the blacks. We can't associate with the blacks because, they routed and, you believe all the bull crap that they fed you. And we can't help them. We white. we white, so we have more privileges. And you got suckered into coming into the home base of colonization. You got suckered. And so now, what is happening? You are developing a galvanized culture, and this demon knows that. So they created this thing, this program to force you out. And the reason they're doing that is they want to create a divide and conquer system, because they can't have you coming in here being organized and working together. They want you to work for them and be loyal to them. So therefore, they suckered you in and they're setting you up. And the first thing, in the Hispanic cultures, the women are subservient to their men. That demon can't have that. No. He's got to have your woman. And he's slick about how he's going to do it. He's going to lure her in, give her shiny things, and say, hey, you got certain rights. You don't have to do like what your man say. You don't have to be waiting on him. Your women are going to be Americanized. Our women have been Americanized for 400 years, and they're just now waking up to understanding that didn't work very well. Because there ain't enough men. There's not enough decent men. A lot of them are gay. A lot of them are locked up in prison. They got the same program set for you. So by creating this, we're going to run you out. We suckered you in. Now we're going to put you in the fear mode where you got to run around and just like slaves back 400 years ago to escape from one side to the other, you're being set up to be converted into a host. A parasite needs a host to live off. Hey, Chairman, didn't this sound familiar to you?
I was thinking about, I spent some time in Mexico, a total of maybe 7 months. I worked there, lived amongst them, had a great time while I was working there because I got a chance to get into their culture. But over in Mexico, they have a hierarchy system, and it's based on skin color. The lighter you are, the more privilege you have. When you're a dark Mexican, in the majority of the cases, you're like a field Negro, you know, and they they tend to worship the lighter skinned Mexicans. And I know this for a fact because I was there. And that's something that we in America, the blacks, have to sort of zero in on because some of us that are light skinned tend to think that they've privileged in some ways. And that's not going to work. We got to be based on education. Let the smart ones stay at the top and bring the ones that don't have the education up there, not have somebody down at the bottom trying to run and rule people that are more educated than them. That just doesn't work good for society. You know, we've got to come together. It's all about sharing. You know, when you got educated people leading, it it's good for everybody because you can teach them. So there's a lot we've got to learn, and like you said earlier about the older ones helping the younger ones. It's necessary. We all got something to offer. You just have to get involved, and then you'll see. But if you're sitting at home and you're not involved, and you say, "I just know I'm too old or too this and that," that's not helping anything at all. I bet if the Iranians or from, yeah, the Iranians that are undercover in the United States, if they start some stuff, everybody's going to wish that they were involved, trying to make this a better place because those people, they don't play. They for real. And we better wake up and smell the roses because what we're doing over there right now, helping out, that's going to cause a lot of revenge and it's not pretty. I'll land that plane.
All right, well, we got to pass the mantle along to my son's generation. Hey, man, what has been your opinion of not only the Hispanics, but even the so-called Arabs that were allowed to come into our communities and make money? But how do you see them being set up?
All right, that's a heavy question. So I'm gonna try to make it brief. So, like Chairman was saying, the light skin worship is a seasonal parasitic thing because we still trying to figure out why are we worshiping light skinned people all over the world. We should just ask ourselves that question real quick. Why are we doing that? I mean, it was a program, installed, but we got to ask the question: who and why did they install it? All right. But it's a seasonal thing. I mean, it's a frequency thing. When we talk about being melanated and that being the dominant gene on the planet, technically, right? And the only reason why is it's a very scientific reason. If you're gonna be on the surface of this world, you're gonna be in the sun to some extent. And you're going to develop melanin on your epidermis so that you can harmonize with nature. That's the bottom line of it. For the same reason most plants in this world are green, the same reason most people in this world are melanated. Same reason, right? But we got a worldwide regime that's saying, no, we need very light colored flowers all over the world, and those are going to be the best ones. Well, that is a recessive gene. Again, that's scientific. Having a lighter epidermis is a recessive gene, and what it's designed to do is for majority of history, in the past and in the future, going into the future, you're gonna have people with melanin dominating, the demographics around the world. But every so often, these recessive genes need an opportunity to come to the surface and express themselves. Because otherwise, it's like this. I mean, it is a natural, quote unquote, phenomenon. If we allow those recessive genes to just linger at the bottom of the gene pool and never get a chance to develop, then we have weak links in the gene pool. That's what happens there. So them coming out in mass over the last, like you say, 6,000 years is a natural adaptation and or evolution to try to get humanity to be most fit in all its capacities, right? So, you know, in this human experience, having recessive genes on the surface for 6,000 years in the grand scheme of things is still a blink of an eye. It's a small amount of time in general, right? And so what we're doing is jam packing a lot of experience of 6,000 years of recessive gene colonization, right? For the sake of understanding it, knowing it, experiencing it, and figuring out whether or not we're going to keep that program or not inside the gene pool, right? Then now that I'm saying all this from a spiritual and an evolutionary perspective, right? So now when we think about Mexico, when we think about Arabs, the original inhabitants of Mexico was us, for one. I mean, they got all the murals down there. They'll tell you. We was there first. We was there first. Everybody that lived there used to look like us, right? Arabs used to be dark skinned. Well, a lot of them still are. Matter of fact, you know, this may segue into something you was gonna get into, Pops. If you're gonna talk about Iran, if you're talking about Palestine, those are original dark-skinned Arabs. That's what they are, right? And so now you've got, now what is Israel? Israel, like what is Netanyahu? He's a light-skinned Arab. He's calling himself an Arab, but he's a light-skinned Arab is what he is. He just lives in Israel, right? And all of the other Israelites, the modern ones, that's what they are. They light-skinned Arabs, just claiming a country, whatever their reasons are, right? So, and who are they primarily fighting? The dark-skinned Palestinians, dark-skinned Arabs. Let's just put it into perspective. It ain't got nothing to do with the Bible or nothing like that. That's just the excuse they're using. But it's still that same parasitic regime. Now Mexicans and Arabs coming into this country and classifying as white, very, you know, this is survival. I mean, like you say, you know, you got a parasite to come into their country, cause upheaval in their country, cause chaos and things to start shifting. In other words, people got to move around, and then they turn around on the other hand and say, well, no, you can come to our country and get white status on paper so that we can manipulate you and use you at our whim. We can place you where we want to place you. We can infuse you where we want to infuse you to do some levels of our bidding. That's pretty much what that's about. You got Arabs in our communities, primarily gas stations. They'll give, and we all know this, they'll give them that money to set up that business. They'll give them that money. And what's even more, it's on the other, it was on the same spectrum, but it's a little more far right. Was really messed up when it comes to the Mexicans. You know, they allow a lot of them to come in, but you know, that border issue. Now, mind you, I ain't got nothing for or against Trump, but this was primarily the reason he was talking about that border issue is because they are trafficking kids at that border. That's primarily the reason they, you know, primary functions of letting Mexicans into this country. Right? They got to go through, you know, processes, and then whatever children fall through the gaps, they're trafficking them worldwide. That's what's going on there, right? So you got some Mexicans that it ain't my direct family. I don't necessarily know those. My family got in here straight, and so we good. We Americans now, and you know, we're gonna sit up and you know and talk shit to the rest of the Americans, just like y'all talk shit to us. But at the end of the day, what I suggest is that you know people of really any Hispanic descent, that's here in the Americas. What I have noticed, especially the especially the Hispanic population is large, Latino population is large. You've got light-skinned Latinos in general, whether they're Mexican or some South American. They got racism real bad too. And what I recommend to them though is you do realize, because y'all know this, especially in South America, the majority of the people around you are deeply melanated. That parasitic and racist regime ain't gonna last long. It's gonna hurt you really bad in the next 10, 15 years. Real bad. And I'm saying that directly to some of the Latino community that's racist, because I'm starting to realize some of them it's like they're either matching racist Europeans or surpassing them in racism at this point. They're like the new gatekeepers of racism, or I'll say the new front line of racism. I ain't got nothing other to say, but that's a very bad idea, especially right now. The window for racism and division is over. That window is closed. That parasite cannot last or live in this new frequency that humanity is heading towards. I'd stop it if I was you. You don't want that. You don't want that physical karma, and you don't want that spiritual karma. I'll end it right there.
All right. So to conclude on that particular subject matter, Hispanic people uprising, they're protesting their people, and a lot of them supported Trump, and they're going like, what kind of flipping the script is this? And your mentality was, oh, they getting rid of the blacks, so we can go in and take advantage of this opportunity. Well, here's the deal. The original melanated people here are no longer good hosts. They have wars out with white supremacy, and we ain't taking it no more. And there's a large population of us, we ready to shut you down in your tracks with that racism, with denying us because of the color of our skin. And so, coming into this mix, into this equation, with the attitude that you're gonna take advantage of our deficiencies or dysfunctionality, the parasitic white supremacy agenda is their objective is to exterminate us through pharmaceutical drugs, through putting guns in our neighborhoods, even affecting
the food.
Yeah, the foods, and so they want to take us out because we are no longer good hosts. We're not going along with it. You are the new host. Richard Pryor said it back in the 70s. He said they're getting some new niggas now, and that's what in essence mean you are primed to become a new host, which means they're going to create a narrative where you are a dysfunctional family. That's the way it took them 400 years to do us. They have no love for you. They'll tell you you was white so that they can get you to support their agenda, but they're going to flip the script on you. And as soon as they get robots that can become sophisticated to replace your job, they intend to eliminate you as well. And they're demonstrating it right now, what they're capable of by separating you. They did this to us 400 years ago, selling off your children, separating you from your families, And so I got one suggestion. I know this is going to be a hard one, but you should go back to your country. Those leaders that they put in place, they're the ones that were put in place by the United States government or the G7 or white supremacy or Lucifer, whatever you want to, the Lucifer agenda. You need to go back, just like Burkina Faso, Ibrahim Traore, they kicking them sellouts out. You need to go back to those countries because a lot of you are waving flags. Go back to them countries and post up. Because that's what we getting ready to do here in the Americas. We get ready to post up, and we're going to post up in a peaceful way in the beginning by saying we're not doing business with them anymore. If they don't start the process of reparations, and I don't mean giving reparations to the Boule Negroes. I mean true reparations. That's what we at UAAR, that's what we're working on, getting true reparations to become self-sustaining. So go back to countries where you came from, start meeting in the woods and the bushes, and get ready to post up to run those fake puppet leaders that was installed by the G7. Get them Negroes out of there because they're sellouts. But anyway, that's my take on the Hispanics, why they're doing this to you. That's why they're doing it to you, because they're going to force you to turn against each other, with special privileges. Well, if this Hispanic over here, he can get you some protection, but you got to become loyal to this Hispanic, like a slave. They're setting you up, man. Don't go for it. Go back to the country where you came from and take out them leaders that was installed. So all right, so it's getting close to our time. Star seeds. Now this is gonna segue into what's our next move as well. Hey man, can you bring that video up about star seeds? So so star seeds, I don't care what nationality you're in right now. If you're a star seed, you need to pay attention to this message. We've been preaching it for quite some time, but we hope that it resonates in your soul to understand star seeds, even though you may feel special, like you're getting downloads from the Most High, and you need to wave your hand and say, this is what we need to do as an individual. The individuality game is over. Those special gifts were for you to come together as a collective.
Which one? You talking about this one right here?
Yeah. I think it is.
Emerald tablets. I'll just read it. Then gathered I, the sons of Atlantis, into the spaceship. I brought all of my records, brought the record.
Yeah, you got, how many you got?
4 of them. That's all.
Well, it says star seeds on the front of it.
What about this one?
The June 11th one.
They're all done from June 11th.
Okay, we got an assortment of videos, and hold on, I know exactly which one it is.
You ready for turbulence? This one right here?
It is. Is that it? Yeah. Okay, we got it. Patience.
Bear with us, family. Bear with us.
The Federation is urging star seeds to be ready for some turbulence as these old structures start to crumble. You might have already noticed signs of this. Rising tensions in society, the breakdown of outdated systems, and a general sense of chaos that seems to be growing every day. These are the birth pains of a new world emerging from the ashes of the old. And this is where your role as a starseed becomes crucial. The Federation's message is essentially a call to action. They're asking starseeds to step into their power and embrace their mission. You see, starseeds aren't just passive observers of this cosmic drama. They are key players. Your very presence on Earth at this time is no accident. You chose to incarnate here with a specific purpose, to help guide humanity through this transition. So what does this mean for you personally? It means that you are being called to elevate your own consciousness and to assist others in doing the same. The Federation is urging you to release old fears, attachments, and limiting beliefs that no longer serve your highest good. This is the time to focus on inner growth, to reconnect with your higher self, and to align with your true purpose. One of the key aspects of this message is the emphasis on unity and community. The Galactic Federation is telling us that the days of solitary spiritual journeys are over. While personal introspection is still important, it's equally vital to connect with other like-minded souls.
Hey, Chairman,
Yes.
I'll let you go first. And we're going into wrap-up mode. It's 5 minutes. Go ahead.
Well, I have one comment about, people from South America. And there are a lot of blacks that don't realize that the largest proportion of blacks outside of Africa is in Brazil. And they have over 100 million black folk there. But we don't hear much about what's going on because they don't want to inspire you. So there's a lot. Maybe we have a talk about that one day, but there's a lot going on that we don't know. But that's the reason why we don't know. Sometimes, knowledge is power, and I'll leave that alone.
Well, you absolutely correct, Chairman. I haven't been there in about 10, 12 years now. I used to travel down to Rio de Janeiro and Sao Paulo. And yes, there is a hidden culture. In the major cities, they got a lot of Caucasians, but there's still, you can see the melanated people were well represented, and they're being oppressed and suppressed by design. That's still, that's still Luciferian design. But you're absolutely right. I'm gonna try to reach out and get an update from some South Americans on what are they doing to try to raise their frequency and organize to be a part of this movement. Well, what are your thoughts on the star seeds, Chairman?
I think it's a beautiful thing, because it just shows us our universal togetherness, that we're universal people, and that we're here for a reason, to bring this all together. Because like I said in my book, we were put on planet Earth to come together, not to fight and war and kill each other. That's not our purpose. Our purpose as star seeds are to mellow people out in this country so they'll make room for extraterrestrials to come here in peace and tell us a lot about our Akashic records of our past, to help us advance more into the future. They're here for our purpose, to benefit us, to take us to that higher level. That's why they call them star seeds. They're throughout the universe. They come here for that purpose, to enlighten us.
Absolutely. Hey, Julian. Hey, man. I know you've noticed star seeds in your generation. What do you think? What do you have? What message do you have for them?
Yeah. So when we say star seeds, we all star seeds. We just come here wanting to experience particular things. I think my generation is designed, like I said, to kind of build this new foundation into the new world, right? Because we know what the old one, we know exactly what it looks like. I mean, we worked the same, similar to how y'all did, not exactly, right? But we worked inside this, this system, realized that it ain't worth its salt. It's just gonna run you ragged and keep you on a hamster wheel. And the generations after me, they're the type of star seeds that came here. It was like, wait a minute now, where are the flying cars and stuff, right? And they're looking like, okay, so the only thing y'all got is some virtual reality and simulation games. Well, I'm gonna play those instead, right? To mimic the world that was supposed to be here when I got here. That's what they're doing. So, we've got some. The message on the video was great, but we've got some intricate plans of action we need to put in place with the closing out of, or let's say the ejecting of this parasitic regime, then the reparation of our social body and cultural body, so we can be healthy and then actually begin to live on a healthy and higher frequency. That's what everybody's trying to get towards. It's just we still, like I said, we still got some leftover parasites, aka a virus, that still got everybody sick. And so it makes it difficult, to live life. Health is wealth. So that's what I see coming from my generation after me, and then the kids that they're having. Because I ain't even got no kids yet, but I know 20-year-old kids that got kids right now. I'm like, Lord. But those babies in particular, you know, it's going to be interesting to see what's on their mind, right? When they start getting to an age when they can really, you know, communicate and articulate what's on their soul. So all in all, I think we're right where we need to be to get these star seeds stabilized so that they can continue to usher humanity into ascension.
All right. Hey, well, so I'm going to give we're right at the hour. So the man in this video was very clear. Each of your individual challenges, trials, and tribulations were for a reason. We all had different challenges, and you learned from that challenge. So there are 144 different variations, basic different variations of challenges, and you fit in one of those categories. But being a starseed, the ones that volunteer, I know my son said we all starseed, but there are ones that volunteered to be here at this moment in history. You volunteered because you found that there was some problems with what they were saying in church or school, or the family members, or, you know, were hypocrites. You know, I got them in my family, straight up hypocrites. They think money is the almighty power, and they'll say, and then turn around in Jesus' name. And Jesus is a false image. So if you are one of those individuals that felt this, and you know you've been here and you've lived through these individual challenges, it's time for you to bring those individual challenges into the collective order, because there are millions of other people that have gone through what you've gone through, but they were not on the high frequency that you're on. So now we have to bring all of these experiences together in unity, just like the man said, for the purpose of raising the frequency. And we, the chairman and I, we like supervisors, star seeds. You know, we here to help guide you. You know, and so you bring these experiences in, all 144 different variations, and now when we elevate to that frequency, all of the other humans that have gone through the same things that you've gone through, you're able to counsel them now from a different perspective because you feel their pain. But when you bring it as a collective, reach out to UAAR, get in touch with us, bring your experiences in, and let's start elevating this frequency. Because that war over in Northern Africa is moving in the direction to build a military for Lucifer, for his final assault on this entire planet, to force the will of this satanic, demonic agenda. It wants to force the will. Lucifer or Satan or Diablo or whatever name you want to call this low frequency entity, it wants to be worshipped as a god. Agent Orange is doing it all, demonstrating it all the time. He wants to be a king. He want people to pay homage to him. He wants a parade where it's my birthday and I want to be honored. That's Luciferian satanic. You know, I want to be a god. The supreme being is much more advanced than a Ben Netanyahu or Agent Orange or any demon that wants to cause harm, chaos, death, and destruction. So, you know, hey, Chairman, there was a general here in the U.S. government that's starting to stand up, starting to grow some balls. Did you hear about it?
I think I vaguely heard. I haven't been in the television for about a week now. Had a lot of death and friends and family, you know, it got me discombobulated. But I heard something vaguely.
I'm going to send you the video. He's preparing himself. I ain't listening to Trump and this BS. I was there. That's interesting.
Oh yeah, I did hear a little bit about that.
We may. I'm gonna have to look into him a little farther, see if he's faking it or if he's real. So we might be talking about that next week. But yeah, man, star seeds don't come in melanated bodies. They come in all cultures.
That's right.
Yeah, it's not just restricted to melanated bodies. They know that melanated bodies was the original design, and that's the best design for living on the surface. And so they wanted to help because they know Lucifer came to attack the original design to create his own fake army. So anyway, the army in the wars in Northern Africa are going to increase because that's a large majority of melanated people there. And they got to infiltrate all of Africa so that they can destroy them. They've already put AIDS in the vaccines. They've done horrible things to destroy some of the original humans, you know, and they're doing it here in the Americas as well. And so when we all come together and demonstrate that this is just like that general, that Caucasian general said, I ain't going on with this bullshit.
Right.
We come together as star seeds and start generating this frequency. The most high technology will intervene and shut these demons down. They will intervene. Their technology is far more advanced. They can shut down all the nuclear warheads. They've demonstrated it.
That's right.
They've gone to each one of the silos, hit it with a beam, and shut down nuclear warheads right here in the United States of America. So they're telling you that it's up to us.
Right.
Collective. Hey, all right, Chairman, that's my final word. You got any other final word? Where you can find your book, Chairman?
Like I say, on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, and on my website, www.godschildren.biz. And I got several videos that will inspire you and entertain you. But the main thing is inspire and educate you and bring things to light. You need to get that book. You know, just looking at that cover, you could meditate on that cover and gain some universal knowledge. So get that book. You're not only helping me, you're helping yourself and society. God's Child, title of the book, Memoirs and Philosophy of Life.
There you go. And also go to Amazon or go to lucifersrevenge.net and order one of our books, the ebook or paper book. There's a playbook in there for star seeds to understand what our next move is. Get a copy, you know, until you can navigate. And wherever you are in the country, we're making arrangements to create a place for you to lay your head and go woosah for about 5 minutes. And then we got to get back in on the field. So check it out, lucifersrevenge.net. Go get a copy. We're spending most of the money for the nation and building these self-sustainable communities because we got to separate from this parasite. Because when the lightning bolt comes, you don't want to be sitting next to this parasite. You're going to get hit too. Hey, son, go ahead and close us out, man.
All right, there we go. It's been the Straight Talk Network show, as always. We love y'all. Peace out. We'll see you next week.
Peace.
Conversation, peace.